If you look at C11, you should feel confident that you could do this drawing on your own because we're not going to use any new commands. However, a lot of students, when they would look at this, they would automatically start thinking, okay, I'm going to do a whole bunch of offset, when array is really the better option to use. So I'm going to show you guys how to array, how to get this drawing done. I will be kind of skipping some parts that you guys should be able to do on your own. The very first part that I'm going to skip over is really how to create the rectangle here and this one here. Now, you can do these shapes by either doing polygon, rectangle, or line. Either way will get you this part. Once you have this done, make sure that you have already exploded these shapes so that way they're not connected anymore. Then what I'm going to do is go ahead and array. So I'm going to type in AR for array, select the line that I want to array, and hit enter. I do want to do rectangular because I want to create an array that has columns and rows. And so now you can see, if I look here, I've got 4 columns and 3 rows. And you might be thinking, well, that doesn't look right because I really only have columns shown here. But if I zoom out, you guys can actually see, here's my 1, 2, 3 rows. So what I want to do is go ahead and make some modifications. I only want 1 row. That should make sense because I only want it in here. I need to go ahead and determine how many columns. So I'm going to count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the space between all of these, we can see for the squares is 3/4, should be set to 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 8. Click here. And then I need to go ahead and change this now to 3/4. Once I do that, you should be able to see that everything is now updated and changed. And my space between is 3/4, and I have 8 columns. I want to do the same thing now to this bottom line here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this bottom line, type in AR for array, hit enter, do rectangular, and again, same thing's happening. I have 4 columns and 3 rows. Well, now I just want 1 column. I have the same number of rows as I do columns. You can count and see. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the space between is going to be 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 8. Change this to 3/4. And now I have a good portion of my drawing done. And the next steps will be to actually add the checkerboard pattern inside of my already created shapes. When I paused the video, I went ahead and created this bottom portion right here. So all I did was I drew a line over 1/8 of an inch, which I'm going to delete now. Please make sure you do delete that line. And then I went ahead and drew a line up and offset over 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, and 1/8. And you could, in theory, do this for every single part of this drawing where these lines should go. However, it's going to be a lot easier if once I do this for the one box, if I do CO for copy, and I want to go ahead and have all of these lines in this box as well. So I'm going to select this as my base point, so I can very easily just select this as my base point. Now you could go ahead and select each of these and go up and down and put them where they need to go. I'm going to show you guys array. Array is going to be a faster method to do this. I know some of you may not believe me. I've actually had to race students before by having them do copy me do array to show that this is quite a bit faster once you get the hang of it. So what I want to do is array just where these lines are. So I'm going to go ahead and do just a blue box, so whatever I select is only going to be selecting these lines since I completely selected those. And I'm going to type in AR and hit enter. I do want to go ahead and do rectangular, and you can see that this is trying to get around where I want it to go in my drawing. I need to figure out the columns. So if you look here, we would actually have 8 columns, but look at what I did. I went ahead and created this and this. So I can actually skip some spaces. If I did 8, and I'll show you guys, if I did 8 here and 8 here, this is definitely not what I want to do. But watch, if I change this to 4 and I make this 4, now I just have to determine really what my space between is going to be. And so since I don't want these to be in every single box, I need to know that this distance is not just going to be 3/4, but I actually want it to be 6/4. So I'm actually going to double. So I'm going to do 3/4 plus 3/4, which is 6/4. That's really going to be 1.5. So watch, if I do 6/4 here and 6/4 here, I now have my shapes exactly how I need them to be. And all of this was created by using array. Very quick, very easy, because I knew the space I wanted between, again, which is 6/4, and I knew which shapes I wanted to select, which was this and this part right here. When you start adding dimensions, you will need to use leader. You'll have to do that a couple times. You will need to make sure that you include the overall dimensions. You can get away with just doing one overall dimension if you include the text underneath the 6.5 that says square. Make sure that you group all dimensions together and be really, really smart about which dimensions you add and your choice of possibly using the word typical to make life a little bit easier. Once you've finished dimensioning, as always, please add this to title block and upload to Schoology.